Oh no, that was the first sound on this edition of Inside the PFL. I look over to my phone, Dracket fucking lights up, and there it is, the pot smashing sound effect. Son of a bitch. It's Inside the PFL. I'm your former champion, El Zubador. Joe. Joined by top 4 finalists who had no match. It's Drac.
Hi.
Drac, we had a big week of battles this week. 3 of the scheduled 4 happened.
Is that a PFL first where somebody just doesn't show up to a playoff?
Yes. We've had before where Murphy just didn't show up on a match where simply if he won, I believe just if he won, he would have gotten into playoffs, but he was just like, no, I'm just not going to do that. And he missed playoffs that season.
Oh, I mean, you know the risks. Well, I don't know the situation. Did he know that it was a possibility, or was he basically clinched, but there was some weird scenario where he could miss it, like how Stadium and whoever that other division is?
No, this was a division that was very close, much like your division was this time, Snap, where it was Mike, Murphy, Dan, and Tristan, and all Murphy needed to do was win a battle, and it locked out, I believe, both Dan and Tristan. And by just not showing up, Mike, Dan, and Tristan all got into the playoffs, and and Mike, who had lost to Tristan twice previously that season, also fucking bit it to Tristan that round 1, and we'll talk about that. If Mike simply fucking just let himself lose to Dan, it wouldn't have happened, but here we are. So let's go over to a little bit different for Inside the PFL this week. We're just gonna look at the bracket, because it's the bracket. Because that was this is the playoffs. It's the first week of the playoffs, and as we said, we'll just get it right out of the way now rather than talk about it last. Drac versus Mitch just didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, I said earlier in I think I said earlier in the PFL chat, our Discord, that if he had at least said something on Wednesday about how he was going to be out today due to extenuating circumstances or whatever, I would have been like, all right, Thursday's fine. But I was sitting in my room dick in hand for 4 hours waiting for him to show up. So
yeah, that's what happens when you don't have Discord on your phone, as we learned from that there, which I think that everybody, I mean, if I can use Google Chrome all the time, that fucking botnet, I think everybody can have Discord on their phone. That's just me. Either way, we got the first match that happened this time was Kyle versus Manny, a match that has happened, I don't want to say once a season in the playoffs, because I think they were on the opposite side of the bracket before, but I feel like Kyle versus Manny is always an important match when it happens here, and the higher seed took it on this one, even though Manny did have the better record, and Manny did beat Kyle earlier in the season too, but you live and you learn. And this was possibly the first showing of that, where, interestingly, I should say interestingly, a lot of people falling for taunt turn 1. By a lot, I mean 2 of the 3 battles, so at least 66% of the people. That seems, at least for me, a little out of character. I mean, to be fair, turn 1 you got Coco.
That's a given. Kyle's been leading with Coco a lot.
I feel like it's a tough spot to think that Taunt is coming out first from Coco, though. Usually, I mean, you could say the same for Electrode, really, but, you think, at least my mindset a lot of the time is, oh, this thing's going to scout, it's going to hit Volt Switch and just get out of here.
I mean, that's the general assumption, I guess. But, well, I'd have to rewatch Kyle's matches, but has he led with Taunt before? Because that might just not be something on the radar. Not
often, I don't think. Which, interestingly, I feel like Taunt on turn 1 has been a lot more common than the other seasons, and possibly Manny just wasn't ready for that kind of evolution going on. I mean, starting with Miltank, it's not going to do much other than hit things like Stealth Rock. So maybe he could have seen it coming, but that automatically put him on the back pedal. He got a little rattled, I think. Gliger has not shown up in many of Kyle's matches, so I don't think Manny properly prepared for it.
Right, because he tried to toxic it.
When you try to toxic it and it has immunity, yes. It's one thing to not know that Mega Gallade, has, inner focus, so he can't be flinched.
Yeah.
So, because going back to the season that I won, the very first thing I did was Manny loved to lead Mega Lopunny, and hit Fake Out turn 1 because it was basically free damage. So,
you led Mega Gallade then?
Yep. And I put it to sleep with Hypnosis. And I will take every opportunity to go back to that triumph. But when you fall into these sort of patterns, these things happen. And I think that Manny did well in the match, I think. It was the closest match with Kyle winning +3, so that goes to show how good everybody else did. But
or poorly, depending on your perspective. There were some mistakes in the other two matches, let's just say that.
But I think that Kyle just had Manny's number on this one in terms of, Slowbro just taking Z Hyper Beam, just taking it, just eating it, just eating Z Hyper Beam, fuck it, why not? And then you're left in a terrible position which we saw in Tristan's match against M1, where you're left with this move that's kind of an albatross in a way of, do you have Hyper Beam? Do you want to use it? He did, but didn't really help him, didn't kill anything. It's not Gen 1, so you can't just continually spam it until everything's dead.
Yeah, I feel like Breakneck Blitz was a good idea on Manny's part because, as far as I know, Kyle doesn't have anything that resists normal. And it's just generally a really powerful nuke.
Yeah.
But using it against the specially defensive Mon. Or wait, Slowbro is a
that's the thing. This is a Slowbro that, I don't know if it had an AV or something, but it was picking up the special defense slack because normally it's the physically defensive one.
Yeah.
It can, I'm sure, pump enough into special defense where it's not a pushover, but Slowbro came in very well in this match. It basically hard countered Keldeo, save for that Z move that didn't end up killing it, which, again, when you're doing it on a Pokemon with Regenerator, you just leave, and almost be, none the worse for wear. Kyle also did a very good job getting Moltres in early in this match, where even though it did take 50% from rocks, you just roost it right back up. You threaten what's out in front of you, and then whoops, look at that, I'm back at 100%.
Yeah, and the Reflect Roost strategy worked really well for Moltres because it could basically just wait out, whatever Manny was putting out. Yeah,
screens as well, pretty underrated, and I think were a good addition to the match here. Metagross in the match did pretty well, I gotta say. It other than the fact that Manny always says
it used Explosion.
Well, getting one of the very few kills in the match, but I feel like Manny is always the person that says Kyle makes the safe move, which in this match, I don't know if Manny was trying to call it, because there were 2 different times that it is out against Slowbro and it hit Ice Punch thinking that either Hydreigon or something else was going to come in to presumably probably Gliger, actually, because it can eat the Thunder Punch very easily.
Yeah, because it's immune.
I guess the immunity, of course.
I mean, my guess is that Kyle just ran the calcs and knew when Slowbro could survive a T-Punch.
And was fine trying to get Scalds off, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when, Regenerator, you lose 60-70% of your health, just leave and you're mostly back to normal. So, Manny did make the point during the broadcast as well that the big failing in the match was, it could have been a completely different story if he let Torkoal survive long enough, or with enough health, so that it didn't have to die to rocks on switch in, because he made sure to prepare for the Halucha strat, which ended up being his undoing, with chlorophyll on Venusaur, and then to fucking put it right over the edge, give it the scarf too. Why not?
What is that, like 3x speed?
It's a lot. It's basically, it basically gets you to +3. So, unfortunately, it didn't end up panning out that way, and even then, I don't know what move you use on Halucha in that scenario either.
I guess just stab Sludge Bomb.
Yeah, I forget.
Halucha's not very.
No, it's
kind
kind
of
of
squishy.
pretty papery, so it wouldn't be. Yeah, probably could have done a lot there at that point, but unfortunately, the road not taken. We see the strategy come in here. Kyle working everything perfectly. All he needs to do is, Coco at like 18% is the most dangerous shit Kyle can possibly do, because all he needs to do is just let it come in and die to set up electric terrain, and then Halucha comes in and it's over.
It's a scary good strat.
It is. There's a reason that it was popular in OU for so long. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the next battle here. A pretty poor showing from Mike.
All right. Is Mike just holding on to Calm Mind Sableye because it worked against me in one match?
Mike has a big fucking hard-on for Calm Mind Sableye, and I gotta say, I'm not a fan of it. I've said a million times, I'm not a fan of it. Mario's opinion is essentially that it only works for Mega Sableye, which is true, because I helped Mike with a lot of his team for this match, and looking at the calcs, when it came down to it, do you want to know how much damage he had? I believe it was Dark Pulse for a little while. Do you want to know how much a +6 Dark Pulse did to Mega Venusaur?
Probably like 60%.
48% high roll.
Oh no.
So if that did not change his strategy, though, it didn't push him off of Calm Mind Sableye. He just went, let me go Psychic instead. You want to know what the high roll of that was?
Probably not much better.
76!
Yeah.
So it would have been a 2-tap at least, but you end up in... So I like where the idea comes from, at least. You have the safety goggles on there. You can't get sleep powdered. You just keep calm minding. And Mike did say to me, he can leech seed me, though. But that's
what happened.
That's about as far as it went. So...
Well, yeah, Sableye spent all those terms calm minding up, and Venusaur was just like, all right, yep, I'm doing my thing.
As well, he did get pretty lucky with the getting the poison on Sludge Bomb. I think that's a 30%, much like Scald and such, but...
well, if he's just calm minding up every turn, you've got quite a few opportunities.
You may...
It would have been an eventuality.
It happened after one, but yeah, it was one of those things where the Leech Seed damage, the poison damage, and then Scarf Eruption came in, and Calm Mind Prankster is not faster than a Scarf. Well, actually having to use a move.
It is.
Yeah, actually having to use a move is not faster than a Scarf, so just Sableye eats it with doing basically nothing in the match. And Mike, I think we saw that Mike suggested about the whole Mega thing. I think it's just because he wants to use Prankster Sableye and Mega Sableye.
Yeah, I think that
too. I don't blame him. I understand where he's coming from with that too. We can talk about that real quick, but it's one of those things where it benefits maybe two Pokemon, Sableye and Sharpedo.
And Garchomp. Because Garchomp can kind of be like tanky, rough skin.
The speed loss you get from Mega Garchomp, I feel like isn't worth it.
Yeah, but you like get time to set up like either paralysis or sticky webs or or get rid of the fast mons or something. Assuming your game plan goes well.
Yeah, as it was learned, I believe last season, once webs are out, Lando is faster than everything. So, barring a Scarf user. Hello, Garrison. Welcome in the chat. What was Specs? What was Specs on your team? Something was Specs. No, Typhlosion. Typhlosion was Specs. Okay. That's an interesting strat. All right. Fair enough.
He was having none of it. For that Calm Mind Sableye.
I passed over it as well here. Mike also fell for Taunt turn 1, and we were talking about it on the broadcast. Fucking Galvantula's right there. Like, Frostlass is in front of you. Frostlass is faster than you. use Thunder, Mike. Don't fall for taunt. Don't try to sticky web. A lot of Mike's strategy was, I need to get webs out. I need to get rocks out. And
he's skittish of attacking turn 1 because he lost to Jack that way in the first game of the season.
He thought he was going to lose his opportunity to web, which, I mean, when you're in there and you're slower than Frostlass, you gotta fucking leave. You can't stay in on that. If you were, if you wanted to save your webs, I mean, it would have been the same story if Aggron came in. If he started with Aggron and tried to use rocks, if he used Heavy Slam turn 1, it could have been, the same kind of deal, Focus Sash, and then you got to deal with Debond. So, either way, I feel like Mike Strack got completely fucked up from turn 1, much like Manny's not being able to get your hazards out. And he had a pretty good idea with Yawn Vaporeon, which originally when we were talking it out, I was like, maybe put Roar on there or something, so you can, because the idea was it was the same kind of, Dragon Tail, Roar, rocks are out, kind of spread the damage around. Didn't end up happening.
Yawn is also hampered by the fact that if you have a Pokemon that doesn't need to come in for a while, or that is largely used up its usefulness, like maybe, probably not a Z-move user, but like Rocks and Polion, for example, you just let that thing go to sleep and then he can't yawn ever again.
I mean, it's a problem when your strategy is, I need to force, like, I can't do anything to Empoleon, so let me force it out with Yawn, and then Mega Venusaur comes in and it's like, oh no, I have to leave.
Right.
And then basically every opportunity he had to yawn when he also yawned Mega Venusaur, in comes Empoleon, and nothing has changed. So Garrison had too many Pokemon to be using the yawn strats for it to work. So I feel bad. I feel bad that Mike got completely fucked, but he had some good ideas. He had Scarf Gardevoir in there, which all he needed, it's basically when your strategy relies on, I need X Pokemon to die, more often than, you shouldn't be banking on, I can do a ton of shit so long as this is dead, because...
Right, because most of the time at like team preview or just in planning, the other person will know, okay, I gotta keep my win con alive, basically.
Yeah, and I can say that in one of my matches against Murphy last season, I tried doing that, where I had a fucking stupid weakness policy Tyranitar set that would cleave through his team, other than Quagsire. And, of course, Quagsire did not die in that match, and I lost +5.
Oh.
So, it's fine to have thoughts like that. Just make sure you have dedicated things to get rid of those other things. That could probably make it a little bit more helpful. But I'm not one to judge. Garrison going in with a lot of momentum.
And a really scary team.
And a really scary team coming from the man who was going to face him.
Yeah.
So I hope you're ready for that. That's... I feel for you, because that one's going to be a toughin'.
I've got some stuff up my sleeve, but it's not a done deal. For sure. Some
strats, much like, again, me keeping my fucking mouth shut about the third time I had to face Murphy last season, in where he was clearly in the chat while we were doing Inside the PFL, and I'm like, I have some strats! I'm not gonna give them away! Alright, either way, congratulations to Garrison, top 4. I believe it's his first time getting a top 4, so...
Same.
So, season of firsts, clearly. Well, on the other side of things, when we fill out the bracket of the other side here with M1... Oop, I got rid of M1. Where are you, M1? There you are. M1 versus Tristan. A match that was interesting for the mere fact that Tristan had the opportunity, plenty of opportunity. He never used Trick Room.
I don't really think he needed to. I think he was like, he had so much momentum that match, and he was so far ahead the entire time that he could just like get chip damage in wherever he could, like chip damage or chip status, whatever, and still be way ahead. There was no need for a sweeper at that point.
I think you're right that I'm assuming he had it, but it was very interesting that it was a match that took a little while. I think that Tristan gave M1 a few opportunities to kind of go ahead on things. He pulled out some surprising moves. You gotta remember, Slow Bro, Slow King, they can get Fire Blast, Flamethrower, they can get those moves. So please be careful when you got Ferrothorn out there. Ferrothorn, who did not do a terrible amount in that match. The most that it did was manage to get Iron Barb's Rocky Helm damage on Escavalier for, like, twice.
Twice.
which I thought would have been more helpful, but unfortunately. Also, as well, the wonderful talk of the match, Mega Mawile is scary, but you know what makes it less scary, Drac?
It having 1/4 attack.
Mummy with Cofagrigus came in like exactly what it needed to do here. Mummy is such a bastard of an ability, and I could not think of it removing a better ability than Huge Power. Because
Speaking of, okay, I can bring this up because this will be funny. During the draft, I was waiting for somebody to draft Kofag because I was gonna draft Regigigas afterwards and try to get Mummy to remove Slow Start. But freaking Tristan drafted it literally right after me on the last pick, so I didn't get to take it. But then I realized that was like he's not in my division, and it's a far-reaching strat anyway.
Yeah, so if you get somebody in your division next season who has Cofagrigus, pick up Regigigas. See what you might be able to do. Maybe it'll be
Regigigas isn't a small boy anyway. He can tank a few.
No, if only he had Protect.
Yeah, if only he had Protect. Or Rest, or anything.
Anything helpful. So you're not fucking using Simple Beam and doubles or Skill Swap or some dumb shit.
Wait, does he get Skill Swap?
No, it's just if you play in doubles, that's one of the...
Oh, you can have your teammate Skill Swap you, okay.
Skill Swap or Simple Beam, and suddenly or fucking Worry Seed, and your ability's not your ability anymore. Think about that, too. I don't know who would ever fucking use Worry Seed.
I was considering using it to remove Filter from Mega Aggron. But again, super specific setup, and I had answers for it anyway.
So yeah, it gets Mega Mawile, loses Huge Power, gets burned in very bad fashion. In unfortunate fashion, I'd say. So the weird thing about this match, I think, Drac, is M1, I think, had a chance to win.
If he didn't have Scarf.
Because, well, then he would have had to deal with Lando, which would have been a problem. But I feel like Scarf Tyrantrum, even though it would have been nice to be able to switch through moves and things, but then it, would have had to deal with an Earthquake from Lando and probably would have died. But Stack Attacker was at like 19%, and Head Smashed at about 20%. So it was a roll at, at worst. Escavalier probably was not gonna... Well, I mean, it's got pretty big defense, but it wouldn't have had a fun time at like 50, 30% health, whatever it was at. Would have been neutral to Lando. Probably would have killed it. Slow King wouldn't have wanted it because it's not physically defensive. Like, all the rest of these Pokemon, like Camerupt definitely wouldn't have wanted it, even though it's neutral. It was nearly dead. Mm-hmm. I feel like going on the strat of let me just go for it, let me do what I can, smash the fuck out of Head Smash for as long as I can, and see what happens. And he went with Berkeley.
I don't think he used Head Smash at all.
He hit it once, and Stack Attacker came in on it.
Oh, right, yeah, because he was saying that's why he didn't hit Head Smash on the very last turn where he was up against Mega Camerupt. He's like, oh, Stack Attack is just going to come in. I'd better predict this.
No,
it
would have died.
Something else can just come in clean.
Yeah, Stack Attack would have died either way, because it did enough damage the first time that it would have killed it, so... Unfortunately,
I ran the calcs, and Adamant Tyrantrum is a roll to one-shot Lando.
Damn.
37%.
Oof, Lando's fucking bulky, Jesus. Well, either way, Tristan getting an impressive win, +4 over M1 for that here, and as it says in the notes, Drac versus Mitch didn't happen, so let's just move ourselves right along to what things are going to look like next week. Yes, please.
Can we institute a rule where if you don't show up for your match and it's a DQ, it's a +7?
No, it's got to be a +0 because then we start messing with the things that are going on.
That's more abusable.
We've got records. And also yes, it could also. Okay. So we got single season plus records that we need to keep, as well as yes, the more alarming fact of somebody can strategically not go to a match and then have their opponent jump ahead of somebody else. That also we do not want. So I could have had it up here. I probably should have had it up already. Let me go ahead and bring up the media file showing what things are going to look like next week here. Oh. Only 2 matches. First off, we've got Kyle versus Tristan, which is a rematch of the Season 6 finals. The last time they met Drac, it lasted 13 turns, and Tristan got +6.
You linked me that replay, and I was just devastated.
I don't know. These 2 men are brothers. Kyle might do things to get into Tristan's head we don't know about. There might be some crazy shit. Like, Tristan might not even bring Trick Room again, thinking that Kyle is going to prepare so hard for Trick Room that... But Tristan's Pokemon are so goddamn slow. There's no reason to not run Trick Room.
Yeah, I think I said that last time I was on the PFL. Tristan's team basically has to go Trick Room or has to just go super bulky and chip away at things.
I mean, even then you always
go... He has no fast mons. He has Lando.
Yeah, Lando's his only one. I think when looking it up, all of his Pokemon, other than Crawdaunt and Lando, are 45 base speed or lower. Crawdaunt being 55, Lando being 101, I think. So, even then, Lando's not as fast as most fast Pokemon, i.e. Koko and Hawlucha, on Kyle's team. I don't know how this one's gonna go, quite frankly. So,
well, if you could get Trick Room up at the same time Electric Terrain is up, that'll kind of essentially negate it.
It'll definitely make things a bit harder for Hawlucha. So, man, Tristan had statistically the best season of the regular season. Kyle is known to kind of. He did what he did against Manny. It's very possible. Strategic, surgical. That's how he plays. And again, we got the sibling rivalry thing going on. Kyle is the older brother, I believe. I think. I don't know. I never actually asked. So he's got that going on, and we've got a +6 in the past, in the finals no less, to go off of. So I'm gonna take Kyle. He has that championship pedigree already. Maybe that's why, but I'd like for Tristan to get a redemption arc, but I think that in this sort of format, in this time, Kyle is nigh unstoppable.
I think Kyle's going to win too, for the sheer fact that he's got the regenerated card, which can pretty solidly wait out Trick Room.
Now don't forget, Tristan has the regenerated core too. He does.
He's
got Slowking and Reuniclus, which could come in handy against a Mungus. Reuniclus can, at least. Actually, both of them can. So, that might be... Maybe we won't see a Mungus. Who knows? We might see some Shadow Ball wars between the 2 regen cores here, but...
Maybe Kyle will dip into the well and take, Blastoise and Toxicroak and Cobalion.
Yeah, the mons that you didn't see as often. I feel like Blastoise could definitely be helpful, especially when we've been seeing... we've been seeing more status, so he needs something that has Heal Bell on it, I guess, which I don't know who on his team might get that. Somebody probably does. Anyway, we got the other match here. Drac, your first match of the playoffs in the top 4.
Ooh.
Congratulations. Taking on Garrison here. So all of the respective division leaders, by the way, are in the top 4. So rarely there were no upsets this week. It was all just lower seeds kind of get knocked down a peg here. I mean, it's not unheard of to have a 3 seed beat a 2 seed, but here we are. 1 seed, 2 seed versus 1 seed and 2 seed. How do you feel going into your match against Garrison?
It's like kind of complicated prep work because we both pretty much have answers for each other if you just look at the matchups.
Yeah, so it'll come down to it might be one of those things where the loss is determined at team preview or the very first turn.
Yeah, yeah, that happened to me versus Jack. He just completely like outbuilt me and destroyed me as a result.
We do know how much you love turn one, so don't think about it too hard.
I did. The turn one is a meme.
Well, in this one, of course, Drac, if you're co-hosting with me, I've helped you a bit through the season. I've helped Garrison as well a few weeks, so these are both whoever wins, I lose because somebody has to lose, and I don't like that happening. But I think that I'd like for you to win, Drac, and
I would like to win too. I'd like to play in the playoffs,
in the finals even, or the playoffs.
Yeah, or just the playoffs.
So either way, I'm fine with whoever wins that one, but I'd prefer it to be you, Drac. So because it's going to make an exciting finals no matter what. All of these teams are fucking insane. So when it gets to best 2 out of 3, that's when things.
That's when the big guns come out.
Yeah, that's when things will get interesting. Don't make the same. Nobody has a weather team like I did last season, so don't make the same mistake I did going hardcore into one strat and not being able to change yourself up. Don't do that. That could possibly be if Tristan makes it into the finals, that could be his failing, I think, is if, unless there is just no good answer that you have, you make the appropriate changes after game 1, Tristan doesn't, and then games 2 and 3 are a walk, almost. So, hopefully we don't see that. Hopefully it's a little bit more entertaining than the finals were last time. But that's what we're going for. Oh no, I knocked over my water bottle, fuck. I'm not on camera or anything, but my hands are going crazy. So that's about where we stand right now. Drac, I gotta ask you, for 1/4 of the league going into the semifinals, could this be the most important week of the season?
Well, there's like 4 distinct possibilities of who are in the finals, right? So yes.
I think that everybody's got to have their A game on. It's going to be good. I got to talk to everybody to figure out when we can battle, because thankfully all 4 of the people as well are fairly common for the live broadcast, so I don't think we're going to have a problem finding time for anything. It might rely on our 700 club person, who is Gage this week, and I don't know if I determined who he's actually going to be facing yet, so got to look into that too. Maybe it'll just come down to who's available. So I think
you can fight Manny.
Oh, he could fight Manny. Manny didn't do the 700 Club yet, did he? That's a thought. I like that. All right, well, I think this is where we close the page, turn the book, all those other jazz things that I got mixed up there. I think then, for Inside the PFL, my name is Joe.
I'm Drac.
And everybody out there watching the battles, if you're one of the 12 that has not gotten this far, sit back and relax. You can coast now all the way to the next season, Monotype Madness, Time Warp Tournament, whenever you want to fucking join back in. Everybody who's battling, just make sure, at the end of the day, enjoy your battles. Have fun.
Salute.